Yep, out for 2-3 weeks.
Out for 2 or 3 weeks. Okay. Anyone else?
Nope.
No.
Let's see. Zach didn't skate today. Stayskull.
Okay.
So he's.
Is that just a maintenance?
We'll see.
Okay.
Lower body.
Getting it stuck at the fishing shop or something like that.
No, so he'll be on the trip. Whether he'll play or not is
Okay.
game time.
Game time decision. Back. Okay. Brayden Fisher, how do you continue to see him coming off a pretty good weekend with 2 points in front of that strong fourth line for you?
I'm going to say the same thing I've told you
Yeah.
about 6 times, right? He
Yeah.
keeps getting better. He's getting opportunities to play. He's making the most of them. And he's doing what we're asking him to do. And it's great to see. It's great to see him get rewarded. Now he's going to play probably an even bigger role. As far as we're gonna move Luke to the middle, so but he'll stay there, and hopefully he keeps playing well.
Luke, how do you feel about him in the middle there?
We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out. I know a couple weeks ago.
I'm not expecting him to go in there and be the winning 100% of the faceoffs, but
Yeah.
he's been there before.
Yeah.
We're gonna try him.
Broncos squad, what stands out to you about those guys?
They can score. Well, 5 guys with 20-plus points. Nothing different. They play north. They get after it. I like the way they play. They're tenacious. Power plays at about 31%, so stay out of the box. But everything when you go there, it's great building to play in. It's always fast. Got to be prepared to play. Last year when we started, I think there were 6 goals in the first period, something like that. So I liked the start, didn't maybe but it was just that's kind of the game there. And we've had some great games with them there, but you got to be ready to play. They play north quickly. They're a good transition team. They're heavy down low. Hard at the net. Dangerous power play. They picked up some really good players. They didn't lose a ton. They lost a lot of guys, but they replaced them with some really good players. They lost some really good players, but I think last year I kept saying, when you look at their roster, if they got all those guys back, Poland and Sasson, and they didn't have a lot of guys that were graduating.
Yeah.
They had a lot of guys that were older, and they're a little bit of an older team this year, but they replaced them with the Constantinis, the Phillips, the kids like that they're good players. Cassetti, who played at Miami, big. There's some good players, right? So they did a good job with the portal.
Are they one of the better teams when they're on their home ice? It seems like they really take advantage of that atmosphere.
Yeah, it's a tough building, man. It's a tough building to win in. Students are awesome there. It's loud. It's like I said. No matter every game I've played in there in my career, even going back to way back, it just seems like the game is faster. So, and now they play that way, right? They play, like I said, north quickly, transition well. So we got our hands full.
How quickly they go north, it's not just the pockets, their bodies are going north, everybody's activating, as soon as they get possession, they go. Are they almost kind of unique in this league? It feels like a combination of the teams and all the players.
I think they were one of the teams that I think changed their styles. I know since Firsch has been there too, they're much more aggressive that way. Other teams seem to try to emulate that a little bit too, but I can remember that when Andy had his teams and they were the big heavy teams and they didn't have maybe as much speed. That changed probably 6-7 years ago, and now they've got size and speed, right? They used to be a different team, and then towards the end of Andy's last 2 or 3 years, they kind of changed, right? And then Firsch has got in there, and he's just built off that and improved on it. And they're a really good hockey team. They've been good. They were good last year. They were good the year before, but they're one of the top teams in our league.
So not skating refrigerators.
No, they are, but they can skate.
Faster skating refrigerators.
Yeah, I like the way they play the game. They play the game the way I think it should be played, right? Hmm?
Had to pay homage to the great that Jason Herter long ago when he called him skating refrigerator.
Well, they're refrigerators, but they can skate. But it's got good skill and good depth to their lines. And I mean, I don't think they have any new defensemen, right? You know, so they're kind of an older team that's been together, right? Then you plug those guys in, which never is easy, but you know, they have enough. They have real good depth.
Sorry, Luke moving in the center here, Joey's
Mm-hmm.
played a little forward in defenseman. Do you like players that grew up that kind of had a diversity of positions? I feel like nowadays there's such a focus on specialization. Talking about specialization.
I don't know. I just think what's common in today's game is a lot of defensemen were forwards, right? If you look at some of the better defensemen, even in the National Hockey, they used to be forwards. I think you can see that, and that's the way the game's changed a little bit. But there's still a need for guys that weren't forwards and just are your defensive puck-moving defensemen, right? But no, I think it's good. I mean, like for me, teaching the defensemen, like I know what was hard for me. I wasn't a forward, but I know what was hard for me, so that's how I try and teach it. You know, so it's the same thing with. I'm not a goalie guy, right? So, but that's how I try and teach, you know, our defensemen, and same thing with forwards, right? Like, if you're teaching your forwards, like, what was hard for the D, like, make it uncomfortable for them doing these things, right? And so, I think that appreciation of playing forward, I think those guys understand that a little bit more because they were forwards. So there's a different mindset, I think. You know, like Aaron played forward, right?
Yeah.
And he was a very good forward. And you can see that in his game. I think he's got a little bit of the forward traits, but he's learned the defensive game, and he's going to be a really, really good defenseman. But he's got some of the offensive ability. So, you know, Dylan Sandberg used to play forward, but, you know, he's not high-end offense, but he's going to play for 15, 20 years. But he's got a little bit of that in him, right? I mean, so yeah, I think some of to me, the trend has been more of your better defensemen have been guys that have that played forward, that moved moved back.
So a lot of the better youth coaches are moving back to the.
Well, there's some coaches that say it's positionless hockey, right?
Comes to development.
It's. I think anytime you can. I mean, I played forward a couple games back in pro. It was great. I didn't know. It was uncomfortable for me to not be down below the hash marks defensively. But once I figured that out, I thought anybody can play forward. This is easy.
Not only that, you like back check.
I did. I got really low. And then I got yelled at for being too low. But no. But that was fun for me too, right? You know, you get that experience and just doing your job there. And but I think it helps. There's no question. I think it's the same thing with forwards. Like, I think it's very easy for centers to go to wing. I think sometimes it's hard for wings to play center if they haven't played it, because it's more responsibility. It's a different game from the middle of the rink. Big part of it's a responsibility that you have at both ends, right? Down low. So, but I think any good center can go play wing.
I mean, when you talk about, talk about you want to see guys play as a unit of five, guys need to be able to kind of know what everyone's doing and be able to do anything anywhere on the ice, right? I mean, that's where maybe kind of helps with forwards having some.
No, I don't know. To me, they know we're supposed to. It's communication, right? And sometimes when you play with guys long enough, you don't always have to verbally communicate. Sometimes it's ingrained. It's the same thing with a D partner. Like, I played with a guy in college for a year and a half. I mean, after a while, we didn't have to talk a whole lot, but we still did. I just don't think guys communicate enough on the rink. They like to talk in the dressing room, but it makes the game easier, from your goalie to your D to your forwards, everybody, right? Just little cues, right? It can always be helpful, And then sometimes you don't have time, but sometimes when you're playing with guys long enough, like I go back to Conley, Fontaine. They didn't really have to talk. They just kind of knew where each other was gonna be, right? And sometimes you see that with lines. There isn't necessarily verbal communication all the time, but there's just that instinct and kind of the wherewithal of knowing where each other's gonna be, right? And we've had so many different lines that we haven't maybe developed quite that chemistry. That's why I'm a big 2/3 of a line guy, especially if you can find a couple guys that can kind of play off each other. You know, if you get 3, it's great, but like I said, our lines change again, right? They've been changing every week.
I know you didn't score in either of those first periods. Eastern, tie game after 2, you dominated the quarter. CC Saturday, I felt like you guys played really well for the period after tie after 2 periods. I think I did late goals, just wanted to go all the way. But how do you carry that over? And I don't, you want 60 minutes of that, but I don't know, we can about that.
What's,
You get more of that.
yeah, I mean, listen, we all want to play a perfect 60-minute game, right? It's not going to happen. I don't care what time of the year it is. I mean, I can go back to us playing UMass in the championship. It wasn't perfect. There was a 10-minute stretch of the second period. We weren't very good. But they're 50, we were good. But again, you're going to have that. But I thought it was a very, very evenly played series. Obviously, the scores indicate that. Both teams had momentum changes and shifts, and you know, it's hard too when you're trying to, when you know you got to win games 2-1, 3-2 all the time. And we have to grasp that mentality. It's not an easy thing to grind out those types of games, right? We've been in a lot of them. I mean, 10 of our 21 have been in overtime, you know, so we've been in a lot of games. We got to find ways to clamp down, right? And that's where the details come in. That's where all the little details come in those situations. Those 1-goal games, tie games, you know, a missed responsibility here, or not getting a puck deep, or, you know, those are all details in a game that you have to really, really bear down when it's tight, right? Not that you don't when it's the game starting, but especially in those situations. And if, you know, if you do that, you give yourself a better chance to win those. You know, I mean, they got 2 bounces, right? I mean, the first one that was a tough one, right? Second one, I think we could have made a better play, but it still got stalled by their referee skate. Good for, I mean, kudos to them. They finished the play, but first one, I mean, and you can't control that stuff, right? You can't. I've said this to you guys before. Some of the teams I've had before, that never bothered them, right? And I don't think it really bothered our team. But those are things that are going to happen in a game, and you have to put those in the back burner and move forward. And got to have some short-term memory, but you can't turn 1 or 2 into 3 and 4, right? But again, to me, when you're in the tight games, and we've been in a lot of them, you gotta pay attention to the details of the game, positionally, you know, with the puck, the things you need to do, and if you get careless with that, or you don't do it, or something breaks down, that's usually the result of giving up a goal or a chance or whatever, so.
Talk about Western Michigan and how they changed to a quick transition team. CC has pretty much changed also to a quick transition.
I thought they were one of the better teams that pressured the puck. Their back pressure was, and Western's very good at tracking. I thought CC was very good at that. We knew that going in,
Right.
but I was impressed with them as far as their puck pursuit, hunting pucks, tracking.
Kind of called it last week. And
So-
it was right on.
And you got to make those, you know, when you think you have time, but you don't have time. But again, it's a great lesson too. Like, we use other teams too as lessons, right? I mean, just because you're not on top of a guy, just continuing to pressure changes a puck carrier's mindset. It's the same thing on a forecheck, right? If a D's going back on a puck and you're right on my butt, right? Some guys handle it well, some guys don't handle it well, right? It's the same thing with pressure, right? And if you get that, and you know guys are committed to that all the time, it helps your defensemen because they can stay up and your gaps are tighter. And now when you snap an overhead picture, there's probably 4 or 5 guys versus 2 or 3. And that's what you want as a coach. Whether it's in the neutral zone, entering the zone, you want those numbers back, right? But we've got numbers back, but we've got to do a better job of closing on people and, again, identifying and pressuring. And I think our biggest thing offensively right now, too, is we don't stay in battles. We get in the battles, but we don't have a second guy, or we're looking to retreat all the time. And this is what I said to you earlier in the year about being more aggressive, right? And we haven't done that consistently enough. You got to hunt pucks. You got to get on people. We just seem to stay in it, and one guy's in it, and the other guy should help, and then they're high, and next thing you got two guys high, and one guy's battling two or three, and then you're turning pucks over, and you're not playing in the offensive zone. So, got to keep getting better at it. Video doesn't lie. Got to watch video, right? Got to learn from video, right? You can't emulate everything. See?
The definition of what you're talking about being tough to play against. It's
Yep.
always tough to play against.
It's not just physical.
It's
Yeah.
on you all the time.
It has nothing to do with physicality. Pressure. Pressure and physicality is better, but yeah, they were good. They were good, and we knew that. But we were still in a position to get 6 points, and we got 3, so they could probably say the same thing. But that's kind of the series it was, right? But I was pleased with a lot of what we did. Like Saturday, I thought we came out good, and thought we finished good. I thought there was a lot of good in our game. They had a lot of good in their game. So hopefully we can find some more good and go into Western and get some points.
As tough as this league has been, has it ever been more fair?
No, I think some of the bottom teams have gotten better, right? You see that with Colorado College. I mean, I still think Miami's a good team. I think they're big, they're strong. I think, they beat Western last weekend. So, anybody can beat anybody. And
And there's no upsets anymore.
no, but I think that's, I think it's hard too, because you can play a good game and then it comes down to one detail, right? It's a fine line sometimes in our league. I think you're seeing that. I think you've seen that. I do still think there's a couple teams that are probably a little bit better than some others. I do think there's a middle group. I do think there's I wouldn't say there's a clear-cut bottom, and I won't say there's a clear-cut top. So do I think the parity? I think the parity's always been there. Even when teams appear to be down, they can beat anybody. But that's what makes our league good, right? I think that's what makes college hockey good right now. Because I think there's a lot of that. I do. But I do think there's teams across the country that are better than some. I think they're still, BC's pretty good. But got a bunch of first rounders, you should be, right? See you at the end, right? Good?
Yeah, absolutely. Like for me, this whole opportunity has been a dream come true. Playing for the Bulldogs has been something I've been looking forward to my entire life. So, and I knew that there was going to be an adjustment period, and I was willing and ready to go through it. So, to get the opportunity now is something I'm super excited for.
Can you take us through your commitment? You were a pretty late commitment. It was after your final, what was supposed to be your final junior season, right?
Yeah, unfortunately enough, I suffered a pretty bad injury last year and missed a better part of the season. So I was fortunate enough when got an opportunity to play it with the Bulldogs, and it was exactly what I've been looking forward to forever.
The recruiting front, like when did they start reaching out to you? When did they offer and such?
Similar, like pretty much right after the season had ended. So
Okay.
right after unfortunately we lost in the first round of our playoffs, but it was fun for me. I got to get back and play in February last year, so it was good. It was short but sweet, but it was an easy decision for me.
Was that your first contact with UMD? Had you been contacted previously?
Yeah, when I was 17. When
Okay.
I was 17, through fast coaches and other, and it was always a spot that I'd wanted to go to.
Yeah. Do you remember who it was that you had talked to when you were 17?
Yeah, I think it was Jason Herter.
Jason Herder.
Yeah.
Okay. Was that when you were playing in Manitoba League?
Yes, yeah.
Manitoba
Yeah.
League? Okay. What other offers did you have kind of coming out after your season ended there?
There's a lot of noise around after my year in Manitoba
Okay.
when I was 19, and then I played a couple weeks to start the season when I was 20 and got it hurt. So my focus was less on school and it was more on getting healthy and being able to play again.
What do you feel you were able to learn when you were, that first semester basically sitting there watching and waiting? What were you able to learn?
Everything's a little bit faster. Everything's better. It's way more attention to detail. So it was really exciting for me to have the top quality coaching and all sorts of things that I'd have had in the past, but definitely not to this extent. So it was great to learn and just to be a student of the game and just work every day at everything that I can do, and because I need to get better in everything. So it was a good opportunity for me.
Did you think that's how this first half was going to go, that you might have to wait your turn here this season?
I had a feeling that it could be the way it goes, and that was something I was willing to do.
Yeah. What have you liked about your game the most since getting into the lineup, especially these last 4 games?
I think just keeping it simple, just doing what, not trying to get too out of myself to start. Get in there, get hard in the forecheck, create a little bit of confusion for the other team, and be hard on my stick and be in a good spot. So start slowly and then build off from there.
You seem pretty comfortable playing with Kyle
Mhm.
and Gino's been out there with you. And
Yeah.
Levin's been a lot of rotating with Luke and that. Where does that comfort kind of come from?
From practice, I was fortunate enough, like in being in and out of the lineup, there were guys that I worked with and I practiced with lots. So that was helpful coming into the games and to just have some familiarity. I was able to get into some of their lines for practices and stuff. So it was good to kind of have some familiar faces when I got into the lineup.
These guys give you any specific instructions when you're on the fourth line that want you to go out there and turn the momentum around or stuff like that? Is there certain things that you try to do in the fourth line that you don't necessarily worry about on the other line?
Maybe. I mean, for everybody, it's the same. We all like to play similar. We all like to be hard to play against. So for me, specifically being a young guy and getting an opportunity now is just keeping it simple and putting the next line that comes out in a good situation and trying to turn the momentum wherever I can.
Braden, if UMD hadn't offered you after the season, what were your plans?
I don't know.
Don't know.
It could have been anything. There could have been. I don't know. I didn't want to think about it and didn't have to. So I was fortunate enough that way.
What would you say are the strengths of your game?
I think being able to think the game has always been a strength of mine, and playing hard and competing. I think something I need to work on is playing with a little more pace, and that's something I think I can continue to improve out of practice here and getting more comfortable in the games and just playing faster, making plays quicker, stuff like that. But I think my thinking the game, being in the right spots, and when I am in the right spots, capitalizing on it.
I know you didn't play much, but what did it mean to get in the lineup for the first time that weekend after Thanksgiving and kind of get your feet wet?
It was awesome. It was so cool for me. My family came down. It was super cool to be all a part of it. This is something that I've been looking forward to for a long time. So it was really fun to get in then.
What have they told you about the place you're heading this weekend down to Western Michigan?
That's going to be an eye-opening experience for me. I think it's going to be really exciting. They play hard, they play fast, and I've heard lots of great things, lots of fun things about their atmosphere there too. So we got to be ready to go, and we will be.
You don't wear a low enough number to get targeted by the student section, I don't think. But that's certainly a thing that they do. You know, an atmosphere like that, though, that can kind of galvanize both teams, can it?
Absolutely. It's so fun for a team, an opposing team, going into an atmosphere like that and playing as hard as we can to disappoint their fans there.
It can be a little intimidating being watching the team play, waiting for your chance, and seeing how quick it is.
Mhm.
Did you have any doubts, any apprehensions? I wonder if I can do that?
Maybe at first, and then I had a lot of games that was able to watch. So it was picking up things and being an active watcher, not just kind of seeing what happens, but thinking of myself and the opportunity there too. So when I got in, there's a lot of I got a lot of encouragement from my teammates and from the coaches. So I felt like I was ready to go when I got in.
And then it feels reassuring that what you do is good enough and it works.
Absolutely, it truly is, yeah. Awesome, great. Thanks, guys. Yeah,
Appreciate it.
absolutely.
It's fitting.
Lurking in the shadow.
So you get to play center now, huh?
Yeah, it's been a while, but no, it's good. I like playing center. I don't mind it. I mean, generally I like playing 200 feet of the ice, so it's fun for me, and I think I get to use my speed a little more too, and gives me more responsibility, which I like. But yeah, I mean, I played it through high school and played it sophomore year here a bit with Blake and Millie, and we were in the bubble and even after that. So yeah, today got used to it, did some 5-on-5 and just positionally trying to get used to it. But with our structure too, lots of times if I'm the first one back, I'm naturally down low, which I have been a good amount lately. So it's not a huge adjustment, but yeah, it's exciting. I like it.
Is this your first time playing in Kalamazoo in front of people?
I played there my freshman year, but that was the last time, yeah, because I was hurt, or I had COVID last year, and then broke my hand the year before, and then the year before that, there was no people. So, yeah, it's been a while. Considering that this is my 5th year, it's kind of surprising that it's only my 2nd time playing there in front of a bunch of fans. But no, it's fun. It's really fun there. It's a good environment, and obviously coming back, and obviously I didn't play a whole ton my freshman year, but now being able to be there and get more involved and get more into it in front of a big crowd will be fun. So.
It's hard not to notice you don't have a 4, which is retired. You also don't have a 3 or a 5. So who do you think it's going to be?
Oh boy, yeah, it's probably gonna be Benny. Benny's probably gonna get picked on a lot. Yeah.
Feels like that's a mistake.
Yeah. Last year it was. I remember watching from the house here in Duluth, and all of a sudden we were up 3-0 on the Friday night, but it didn't really last long. I think they came back, scored 3 straight, and then, but yeah, they picked on him last year. He had a good weekend last year though, but I think they picked on Galley a little bit too. Maybe it's just the smaller guys, but we'll see. We'll see who they pick on this weekend. So.
If they knew history, they'd pick on Aaron.
True, because his brother wore 4.
Yeah. They picked on Dylan my freshman year.
Yep.
He's a good one to pick on, easy one, so.
They picked on Neil pretty
Last year
fairly,
was
too.
Heisman too. They
Yeah.
Heisman a lot.
Yeah,
Neil's like,
I was gonna say, that was probably a bad decision too,
yeah.
yeah.
Neil had a good weekend too there.
Got to hold Neil at Benny, because I feel like that's a guy that can feed off of that.
Yeah.
No one told Neil that it was like,
No.
Neil thought it was personal the entire weekend. Couldn't figure out what he did.
I think Ben will probably take it that way too, so. And usually when Ben takes things personally, it ends up being good for us, so hopefully we can get him riled up. Not too riled up, but we'll keep him in check, so.
What are your kind of expectations with matching up with Western? You know, what do you know about them, and how do you guys bode well against them?
Yeah, I mean, they're obviously this year having a good year. They got top end scoring for sure. Their top line is really good. They play a good amount of the minutes for their forwards, and their D are big and strong, and they're going to be physical with you, especially in their place. They know how to play there. They know how to feed off the energy there, and so just got to kind of weather the storm. You know, they're going to play hard and right out of the gates, and obviously it's just kind of a bend don't break mentality, but also at the same time we can take our game to them and be physical with them, put some pressure on their D, and just be good defensively. I think if we can be good defensively and shut it down in our zone, I think that'll give us a lot more chances offensively. So just use our speed and, like I said, weather the storm when the crowd's getting into it and they're feeding off it. So. Good?
Thanks, Luke.
Yeah.
Congrats, Dennis.